The screams had stopped an hour ago. That was worse. General Alina Frost hung from mag restraints in the interrogation chamber, her uniform torn and bloodied. Beside her, General Amara Stone breathed in shallow gasps, her dark skin marked with burns from neural probes. Across the room, General Keiko Tanaka remained conscious through sheer will, her eyes tracking every movement of their Kalrathi captors. The aliens were reptilian, 7 feet tall, with scales that shimmered like oil on water. They moved with arrogance, secure in their belief that humans were soft creatures who would break under pressure. 3 days of torture had yielded nothing. The Kalrathi interrogator, Prime hissed in frustration, his forked tongue tasting the air. "Your Earth's defense codes," he demanded again. "Give them to me, and this ends." Elena lifted her head, blood dripping from a cut above her eye. When she spoke, her voice was steady. "You have no idea what you've started." The interrogator Prime struck her across the face. Defiant words from a dying species. "Your colony world burns. Your generals hang in chains. Earth will surrender within the week." Keiko laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the metal walls. "You really don't know us at all." The alien's claws extended. "Then you will teach me through your suffering." The torture resumed. The 3 generals endured in silence, counting the minutes, the hours. They knew Earth would respond. The question wasn't if, but how. 2,000 light-years away, Fleet Admiral Lucas Grant stood in Earth Command's war room, watching the intercepted transmission for the 47th time. 3 of humanity's finest officers tortured for intelligence. The footage had been sent as a threat, a demonstration of Kalrathi power. The room was silent except for the sound of breathing. Every officer present had served with at least one of the captured generals. Elena Frost had led the defense of Mars during the Outer Rim conflict. Amara Stone had pioneered humanity's fast attack doctrines. Keiko Tanaka had commanded the fleet that first made contact with the Kalrathi, offering peace and trade. This was how the Empire had responded to that offered hand. "Options," Grant said quietly. "Diplomatic channels are closed," his chief advisor reported. "The Kalrathi refuse negotiation. They're demanding full access to our defense networks and the surrender of 12 colony worlds as reparations for what they call our trespass into their space." "Trespass." Grant's voice was ice. "We offered them friendship. Sir, the Galactic Council is calling for restraint. They say any military response could trigger a wider war." Grant turned from the screen. His face could have been carved from stone. "Get me Commander Kozlov." The room's temperature seemed to drop 5 degrees. Every officer knew that name. Kozlov was a ghost story told in bars on frontier worlds, a legend whispered among special operations units. Some claimed she didn't exist, that she was just a cover identity for wetwork teams. Those who knew better stayed silent. "Sir," the advisor hesitated. "Are you certain? The Council expressly forbids?" "The Council," Grant interrupted, "can watch what happens when you torture human beings and expect us to ask permission before responding. Send the activation code. Then initiate Protocol Nightfall." Protocol Nightfall, the contingency plan designed for total war. Every officer in the room understood what it meant. "Sir, Protocol Nightfall requires moving the entire fleet into position. That will take weeks and leave Earth defenseless." "They've already taken 3 of our best," Grant said. "They think we're weak. Scattered. Afraid." He pulled up a star chart showing Kalrathi space. "We're going to teach them the oldest human lesson. You don't poke the bear, and you never, ever torture our people." He pressed a button. Across human space, every military vessel received the same order. Radio silence. Total communications blackout. Disengage from all current operations and proceed to Rally Point Omega. To the galaxy, it would look like humanity had simply vanished. On the prison moon of Kartek, the Kalrathi guards changed shifts. The facility was a fortress carved into dead rock, protected by orbital defense platforms and a full battle group. It held the Empire's most valuable prisoners, species representatives used as leverage in negotiations. The 3 human generals were its newest acquisitions. In the cell block, Elena fought to stay conscious. They'd moved the generals to separate cells after the last session, probably hoping isolation would break their spirits. Through the force field that sealed her cell, she could see guards patrolling the corridor. 12 visible, probably another 20 in reserve. The prison had over 300 personnel. Rescuing them would be impossible. A guard stopped in front of her cell, mandibles clicking, in what passed for Kalrathi laughter. Your Earth has gone silent. 3 days now. No transmissions. No diplomatic protests. They have abandoned you? Elena smiled through split lips. No, they're preparing. Preparing to grovel for your release? Perhaps. But it will cost them everything they have. The lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in immediately, bathing everything in red. Alarms began to wail. The guard spun, reaching for his weapon. He managed to draw it before a blade opened his throat from behind. The body fell. Behind it stood a woman in black armor that seemed to drink in the emergency lights. Her face was covered by a featureless mask, but her eyes were visible through the visor. They were gray and absolutely cold. She moved to Elena's cell and pressed something to the control panel. The force field died, General Frost. Can you walk? Elena pushed herself upright. Who are you? Commander Vera Kozlov, callsign Baba Yaga. She handed Elena a sidearm. We're leaving. Can you fight? Always. Good. Your fellow generals are 2 corridors over. We get them, then we go. They moved through the prison like smoke. Kozlov killed with mechanical precision, each movement economical and final. Guards dropped before they could sound alerts. Security systems failed as she passed, cameras dying, locks opening. Elena tried to keep count of the bodies, but lost track after 15. They found Amara first, half conscious in her cell. Kozlov injected her with a stimulant and armed her. Then Keiko, who was alert despite her injuries. The 4 women moved deeper into the facility. How did you get in? Keiko whispered as they approached an intersection. Rode in on a waste disposal shuttle 3 days ago, Kozlov replied. Been mapping the facility since then. There are 287 guards currently on duty. I've killed 42. The rest will notice soon. As if on cue, the prison-wide alert sounded. Lockdown protocols engaged throughout the facility. That's our signal, Kozlov said. She tossed each general a demo charge. We blow the hangar bay doors and take a ship. Questions? Just one, Amara said, checking her weapon. How many have you done this before? Kozlov's masked face turned toward her. I've never failed a mission. I don't plan to start today. They fought through 6 checkpoints, leaving carnage in their wake. The Kalrathi had numbers and firepower, but Kozlov moved like violence personified, always 3 steps ahead. She anticipated patrol routes, turned their own security systems against them, created chaos that made their superior numbers irrelevant. The 3 generals fought beside her, injured but determined. They'd endured torture without breaking. A prison break was almost therapeutic. At the hangar bay, they faced their first real resistance. 40 guards in full combat armor, supported by automated defense turrets. Kozlov assessed the situation in seconds. Generals, take the left flank. I'll handle the turrets. Before they could respond, she was moving. She sprinted directly at the defense line, impossibly fast, sliding under the first burst of fire. Her hands moved in a blur, throwing devices that stuck to the turrets. The explosions came in sequence, each shaped charge perfectly placed to destroy the weapons without damaging the ships beyond. The guards broke formation, trying to track her. Fatal mistake. The 3 generals opened fire from their position, cutting down enemies who'd exposed themselves chasing Kozlov. In 90 seconds, it was over. They took a Kalrathi courier ship, fast and lightly armed. As they cleared the hangar, orbital defense platforms opened fire. Kozlov piloted with the same cold efficiency she'd shown in combat, weaving through weapons fire that should have been impossible to dodge. They'll scramble intercept fighters, Elena said from the co-pilot seat. No, they won't. Kozlov pulled up a tactical display. Look. Emerging from the shadow of Chartok's parent planet, a human destroyer decloaked, then another, then 10 more. Within minutes, the entire Kalrathi battle group was surrounded by human warships that shouldn't have been anywhere near this system. The prison's orbital platforms died in coordinated strikes. The battle group attempted to form up, but was already outmaneuvered. Human ships had positioned themselves perfectly inside the Kalrathi formation, too close for effective return fire. "This is Captain Morris of the destroyer Relentless." A voice came over the comm. "Commander Kozlov, you are cleared for docking. Welcome home, generals." As their courier ship flew toward the Relentless, Keiko stared at the tactical display. "This isn't a rescue operation. This is an invasion fleet." "No," Kozlov said quietly. "This is the beginning of the end." On the Relentless, the three generals received medical treatment while Kozlov briefed them in private. The ship's war room was cramped but functional, displays showing a strategic situation that made Elena's blood run cold. 17 Kalrathi worlds, Kozlov explained, highlighting them on the star chart. Every major military installation, shipyard, and command center. Human fleets have been moving into position for 3 weeks, using stealth technology the Kalrathi didn't know we had. We've been sitting in their backyard, watching, waiting. "Waiting for what?" Amara asked. "For you to be rescued." Admiral Grant's orders were clear. "Extract you first, then commence Operation Baba Yaga." Keiko leaned forward. "What is Operation Baba Yaga?" Kozlov removed her mask for the first time. Her face was young, perhaps 30, with scars that told stories of violence survived in old human folklore. Baba Yaga was a witch who lived in the forest. Some stories said she helped lost children. Others said she ate them. All agreed on one thing: you didn't want to make her angry. She pulled up new displays. The Kalrathi thought torturing human generals would make Earth negotiate from weakness. They were wrong. Every second you were in that prison, humanity was preparing for total war. Now you're out? She pressed a button. Now we show them what angry humans can do. Across Kalrathi space, 17 human fleets decloaked simultaneously. The coordination was perfect, the timing exact. In the imperial capital of Krathna, the Emperor's advisors rushed to the war room in panic as human ships appeared in orbit, weapons locked on major population centers. "Impossible," the Emperor hissed. "Our sensors showed nothing." "They've been there for weeks," his intelligence chief reported. "Mandibles clicking in distress, stealth technology beyond anything we've encountered. Every major world is under siege." A transmission came through on all channels. Admiral Grant's face appeared, his expression carved from granite. Behind him, the 3 rescued generals stood in clean uniforms, injuries visible but bearing them with pride. "People of the Kalrathi Empire," Grant began. "For 3 weeks you have tortured 3 human officers. You broadcast their suffering as a threat, expecting Earth to surrender to your demands. Instead, we prepared this response." The display split, showing human fleets in position around each targeted world. The sheer scale of the operation was staggering. "You have 1 hour to unconditionally surrender," Grant continued. "Your emperor will stand trial for war crimes. Your military will be disbanded. Reparations will be paid to every species you've subjugated. Refuse, and we will demonstrate why humanity has survived every extinction event our world threw at us." "We will not be intimidated by it," the Emperor began. Grant cut the transmission. 59 minutes later, Kalrathi battle groups arrived at their homeworld, recalled from across the Empire. They outnumbered the human fleet 3-1. The Emperor, watching from his palace, felt confidence return. Numbers would prevail. The humans opened fire. What happened in the next 6 minutes would be studied in military academies for generations. Human ships unveiled weapon systems that violated every assumption about warfare. Quantum disruption fields collapsed. Kalrathi shields like tissue paper. Neural cascade bombs didn't destroy ships. They turned them into drifting tombs as crew members collapsed simultaneously. Relativistic kill vehicles, tiny masses accelerated to 90% light speed, punched through capital ships like they were made of fog. The Kalrathi fleet didn't retreat. It ceased to exist. Admiral Grant watched from the flag bridge of the dreadnought Vindication. Around him, officers called out damage reports, tactical updates. The battle was unfolding exactly as predicted. Human forces were taking losses, but the Kalrathi were being systematically annihilated. "Sir, the Galactic Council is demanding we cease fire," his communications officer reported. "They're threatening sanctions." "Tell them we'll cease fire when the Emperor surrenders," Grant replied. "Not before." On Krefna's surface, the Emperor watched his fleet burn. Pride warred with survival instinct. To surrender meant humiliation. To fight meant extinction. A human strike force broke through orbital defenses, making for the palace. Planetary defense batteries opened fire, but the human ships danced through the barrage, too fast, too maneuverable. They weren't trying to destroy the palace. They were sending a message. One ship broke formation and landed in the palace courtyard, its ramp lowered. Commander Kozlov walked out, alone, mask back in place. Behind her, the sounds of battle echoed across the city. The Emperor's personal guards surrounded her, weapons raised. 50 of the Empire's finest warriors against one human in black armor. "I am here for your surrender," Kozlov said, her voice amplified by her suit's speakers, peacefully or otherwise. The guard captain laughed, a barking sound. "One human against 50 Kalathra? Your arrogance will be your death." Kozlov's head tilted slightly. "I've killed 214 Kalrathi in the last 4 hours. What's 50 more?" The guard captain gave the order to fire. What followed lasted 8 seconds. When it ended, Kozlov stood alone among the bodies, not a scratch on her armor. She walked into the palace, leaving bloody footprints on marble floors. She found the Emperor in his war room, watching his empire burn on tactical displays. He turned to face her, claws extended, ready to die fighting. "Your choice," Kozlov said. "Surrender, or I kill you and find whoever's next in line. I'll keep going until someone has the sense to end this." The Emperor looked into those cold gray eyes and saw something that terrified him more than death. He saw purpose, absolute, unwavering conviction. This human would do exactly what she promised, would kill every member of the royal line if necessary, and would feel nothing doing it. "I surrender," he whispered, louder, for the broadcast. The Emperor straightened, some dignity returning. He activated the empire-wide channel and spoke the words that ended the war. 1 week later, the 3 generals stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was full, representatives from 100 species watching with a mixture of awe and fear. The Kalrathi Emperor sat in a defendant's cage, awaiting trial. Elena Frost stepped forward to address the assembly. Her injuries had healed, but the scars remained visible, deliberately left that way. "The council asked us to explain humanity's response," she began. "You wanted to know why we unleashed such devastating force over 3 captured officers? Let me be clear." She gestured to her fellow generals. "We 3 were tortured for information we would never give. We endured because we knew our people would respond. Not with negotiations, not with appeasement, with overwhelming decisive force." Amara Stone continued. "Humanity learned long ago that showing weakness invites aggression. We've fought wars on our homeworld for thousands of years. We know what happens when evil goes unopposed. It grows." Keiko Tanaka finished. "We value peace. We offer friendship to all species willing to accept it. But harm our people? Torture them? Treat them as things to be broken?" She looked directly at the Emperor. "And you'll discover that humans have a very long memory." The council chamber was silent. Finally, the council head, a crystalline being from the Nexus Collective, spoke. "Your actions have destabilized this sector. 17 worlds under siege, billions affected. The council demands..." "The council demands nothing," Elena interrupted. "We submitted to your laws, played by your rules, offered peace when we could have taken what we wanted by force." The Kalrathi spat on that offer. They tortured prisoners of war and broadcast it as entertainment. If the council wants to punish someone, start with them. Another council member, a gaseous entity that spoke through translation devices, floated forward. "And Commander Kozlov? This Baba Yaga? She violated every convention on warfare, killed hundreds, invaded a sovereign world. Where is she now?" The three generals smiled identical cold smiles. Commander Kozlov, Kaiko said, has returned to her duties. Wherever she is, whatever she's doing, that's classified. But every species in this galaxy should remember her name, remember what she represents. And what is that? The council head asked. Consequence, Elena said simply. Humanity will always prefer diplomacy, but push us, hurt us, make us unleash the Baba Yaga? She leaned forward. And you'll learn why we're the only species to survive our own planet's attempts to kill us. We don't just fight to win. We fight to ensure the fight never happens again. The trial proceeded. The Kalrathi Emperor was convicted of war crimes and sentenced to life imprisonment. The Empire was dismantled, its subjugated species freed, reparations were paid. The Kalrathi military was reduced to a defensive force, monitored by human observers. In the months that followed, something changed in galactic politics. Species that had eyed human colonies with conquest in mind suddenly found other interests. Pirates who'd preyed on human trade routes disappeared, their bases found destroyed, with no indication of what had happened. And across the frontier, in bars and meeting halls, a new story spread. The legend of Baba Yaga, the human huntress who walked through walls and killed with impunity. Some said she was one person, others claimed she was a title passed from operative to operative. A few insisted she was just propaganda, a ghost story to keep enemies afraid. Those who knew the truth stayed silent. In a classified facility on Earth's moon, Commander Vera Kozlov completed her mission debrief and returned to training. She was already preparing for the next operation, the next enemy that needed to learn humanity's capacity for retribution. Admiral Grant watched her through the observation window, reading the report one more time. 214 confirmed kills. 0 friendly casualties. Mission success. Sir, his aide asked quietly, do you think they learned the lesson? Grant closed the file. On his desk was a picture of the 3 generals taken after their rescue. They were smiling, surrounded by the crew of the Relentants. Survivors. Warriors. Proof that humanity protected its own. Some will, he said. Some won't. Those who don't? He looked at the training room where Kozlov moved through combat scenarios with inhuman precision. They'll learn eventually, or they'll disappear. Either way, the galaxy knows now. You can negotiate with humanity. You can trade with us, befriend us, even disagree with us. But torture our people? He stood, straightening his uniform. And we'll show you nightmares your species hasn't dreamed yet. In the vastness of space, human ships patrolled the borders, watching, waiting. Inside them, soldiers trained and rested, knowing that peace was precious but fragile. That somewhere out there someone would eventually test humanity again. And when they did, they'd learn what every bully throughout human history had discovered too late. Some prey doesn't run, some prey hunts back. And humanity had spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of the hunt. The Baba Yaga was real. She was watching, and she never forgot.